A chaotic and deadly scene.
We heard like a thunderstorm of sirens and just saw lights everywhere.
Unfolds in the city's northeast, leaving a woman dead and 3 hospitalized, including a suspect. Plus, the woman gunned down in a Calgary parkade had only recently obtained a restraining order. And as Jasperites continue to rebuild, more on the political firestorm brewing 1 year later.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Camilla DiGiuseppe.
Good afternoon. A woman is dead and 3 people were taken to hospital after a crash early this morning involving a vehicle going the wrong direction into oncoming traffic. Jacqueline Wilson joins us now from the scene in the northeast of Calgary. Jackie, what is the latest on this investigation?
Camilla, 52nd Street in the northeast. It is now open, as you can see, in both directions. All that's left here on the roadway is a bit of debris and some marks, and that is a far cry from, as you say, the chaotic and tragic scene that unfolded this morning about 5:15 a.m. and it involved, like you said, a pedestrian and 2 other vehicles. Now, police say a blue F-150 driven by a 25-year-old man that was traveling at a high rate of speed in the wrong direction on 52nd Street. He allegedly hit a woman in her 50s that was walking on the road about 35 meters south of Temple Drive. Police say initial evidence suggests that the driver didn't attempt to slow down before hitting her. Now, seconds after that, police say that the truck hit a Jeep Cherokee driven by a woman in her 30s with a 35-year-old male passenger. They sustained life-threatening injuries, and police are hoping for the public's help.
To anybody who may have seen the collision, who may have dash cam, to please come forward, because they may have a crucial piece of information that helps us with our investigation.
Now, Camilla, charges are pending against the driver of that truck who did sustain serious injuries. Excessive speed, as I mentioned, is being looked at as a part of the contributing factors in this investigation, but I do want to say that police say that there's no impairment thought on any of the people involved in this collision. Back to you.
All right, Jackie, thank you so much. A woman shot to death in a Haysboro parkade had obtained a restraining order last month. Flowers and stuffed animals have been left near the parkade where Madison Cobb died. CTV News has learned that courts had issued a restraining order against a man. He couldn't go within 100 meters of her home and her place of employment. That court order was issued June 10th. Police have said they will not be confirming the names of any suspects. LASIK MD, where Madison worked, was closed today and will be closed tomorrow. In a statement, the company says they are deeply saddened to learn of the tragic death and are offering support to staff. Police say a suspicious death Saturday morning has now been ruled a homicide. William Harvey Chanel was found dead in a residence in the 600 block of 10th Street Southwest. Police aren't saying how the 30-year-old died, but say it's not a random incident. The investigation continues. Cochrane RCMP is asking for help to locate a missing mother and her young daughter not seen in more than 2 weeks. 30-year-old Ashley Bartley and 4-year-old Marley Myers were last spotted in Cochrane on July 12th. Investigators believe they could be in the Vancouver area and are concerned for their well-being. The pair may be traveling in either a white Chevrolet Spark with Alberta plate CWH6991 or a brown Chevy Silverado with Alberta plate CTK 2994. If you know of Bartley and Myers' whereabouts, contact RCMP or Crime Stoppers. Police are hoping someone can recognize a suspect in what they're calling a hate-motivated assault. This is the man investigators are trying to identify. He's accused of approaching a man and a woman at a Southwest crosswalk on June 24th. Police say the pair were waiting to cross Southland Drive and Southport Road when the suspect approached them and hit the man. He also shouted a racial comment before taking off. The suspect was wearing a blue athletic t-shirt and black pants. Calgary police say more than 25 Calgarians have reported being targeted in a photo radar and parking fine scam. Victims are receiving a text claiming they have an unpaid ticket and to click on the link to settle the fine. Calgary police say ticket communication is always done by mail. If you receive one of these texts, never click the link and do not provide money or personal information. The Premier is condemning the alleged surveillance of an Alberta journalist. Carrie Tate has been reporting on the AHS contract scandal, which involves claims of kickbacks and political pressure. The Globe and Mail says photos taken of her without her knowledge were posted on an anonymous X account. In two of them, Tate is meeting with former political staffers in Smith's government. Danielle Smith says her government has nothing to do with it.
I condemn it. No one should be harassing anybody, and I don't comment on sock puppet accounts. I have no idea who's behind it, and so if there's criminal harassment, I hope that the RCMP finds them and punishes them to the full extent of the law.
The Globe and Mail says attempts to interfere with legitimate news gathering is an attack on the public's right to know. The anonymous X account was suspended last Wednesday. A Calgary couple is glad to be unharmed after coming face to face with a grizzly bear over the weekend. Jordan Canigan has more on this story. And Jordan, an anniversary hike turned into a frightening encounter.
Camilla, Howard Ma and Lori Arneson decided to celebrate with a quick hike before dinner this past Saturday. They thought it would be a busy trail. It turns out, though, the only encounter they had was with a grizzly bear. It happened on a hike to Troll Falls in Kananaskis country. It was an empty trail, and the couple had stopped to take photos when they spotted the grizzly coming towards them. Ma started taking this video as the pair slowly walked away, but the bear followed. They started picking up the pace when the grizzly raised onto its back legs before lunging towards them.
Where it got really large and it showed its claws, and it felt like it was going to attack us. So that was really, really frightening.
And so I put up both my hands, made myself as large as possible, and just roared as loudly as I could.
Now, the two admit they were not properly prepared and say they'll always carry bear spray when hiking from now on. They reported the encounter to Alberta Parks, and a bear warning is now in place for the area. Camilla?
All right, Jordan, very memorable indeed. Danielle Savoni joins us now with our first look at the forecast. Where did summer go?
Yeah, it's below normal. It's rainy, it's soggy. Good in some cases for a lot of farmers. I was moving in it, so you know, for me personally and for you, it was a lot of rainfall out there. It hasn't stopped, or so it feels, and we're not done yet. In fact, there's a number of things going on out there right now. We have a cold front that's swiping through, so temperatures will continue to cool down. We're looking at even colder day tomorrow because of this. We also have a system stateside that is pushing some rainfall in, so those are kind of colliding. And we also have a huge upper level trough that's enhancing things as well. So 18 degrees is the current temperature at the airport right now. The winds are going to pick up as we go here and gusts out of the north up to 40 kilometers per hour. So we're looking at that happening on and off right through the next 24 hours. We're looking at rain heavy at times, especially tonight and through early tomorrow. Even embedded thunderstorms possible. In Calgary alone, we're looking at picking up another 30+ millimeters of rain in these next 24 hours. More details on that coming up, but that's your 24-hour forecast brought to you by Fifth Avenue Volkswagen, where you can win your ride. See dealer for details or visit fifthavvw.com. Cam?
Thank you very much, Danielle. Just ahead, 1 year later, looking back at the fire that forever changed Jasper and how it's still impacting the mountain town to this day. And pedal power pushed to new heights for the 17th annual Enbridge Tour Alberta for Cancer. Also, if you have a news tip, text us at 10400. The town of Jasper is still rebuilding a year after lightning ignited a wildfire that roared through, burning a third of the community. And a recent report on the fire has fueled political tension. Dry and windy conditions fed the approaching wall of fire that reached the town, and it was no match for crews who desperately tried to save it. Many homes and businesses were lost. Jasper is looking at how the fire response could have been done better. A report commissioned by the town and authored by 2 consulting firms was released last week. One small section suggests that the province disrupted the focus of incident commanders, prompting the premier to lash out and demanding an apology on Friday.
We have always acknowledged our gratitude to the province for the support that they have provided. It was not intended to ascribe blame, and it does not ascribe blame. It describes circumstances.
Today, both the Premier and the province's safety minister say they appreciate the town recognizing the role the province played during the crisis. Residents of Slave Lake are being told to prepare to evacuate. A wildfire is burning northeast of the town. Everyone in Slave Lake needs to be ready to evacuate within 8 hours. People in the MD of Lesser Slave River need to be ready to leave within 4 hours. There are currently 62 wildfires burning across the province. 16 are out of control. Let's bring in Danielle once again. Wouldn't it be great to have a lot of that rain head up to those areas?
Yeah, let's get that up to the north, right, where they need it the most. It will be mainly concentrated in central and southern Alberta, though. And I would say the bullseye areas looking like Calgary, off to the west of Calgary, Kananaskis, for example, down to Nanton, Claresholm area. We'll talk more about this in just a second. Before we get to all the rainfall stuff, which I'm sure, you know, we've heard a lot about over this past week, we'll talk temperatures for a second. It is a cooler day today, and tomorrow will be even cooler than it is today. And when you look at temperatures at the airport right now, 18 degrees downtown, same type of idea. Cooler in Bragg Creek at 14 and just 15 in Cochrane. Warmer, a little warmer anyway, off to the east in Strathmore at 18 degrees. Get your daily dose of greens at Serenity Golf Club, just 20 minutes east of Calgary. And I will say, while tomorrow is not a great golf day, Wednesday, Thursday, looking pretty nice. So we're almost done with some rainfall. Okay, 18 in Calgary, as we just talked about, 15 in Banff, 13 in Pincher Creek, a little warmer off into the Medicine Hat area for now anyway. Brooks sitting at 20, Drumheller as well. We have a number of things happening here right now, and we have this cold front that's swiping through. That's sparking up these thunderstorms, will also lead to some more rainfall because of that, and even some localized areas getting that enhanced rainfall because of the thunderstorms. Then we have this system pushing in from the states, delivering some rainfall to the far south. We also have a upper level trough. So a lot of things going on to create a good amount of rainfall. So we're in for another bout of rain, a significant bout in some communities, especially Calgary and off to the west of Calgary, and then down to or around Nanton. So this is that bullseye area, and I'll show you that in just a moment when we look at rainfall totals possible with this. But yes, for tonight, expect showers, rain at times heavy, thunderstorms embedded in this. So it's a busy night and busy for tomorrow morning especially as well. When we talk about air quality, I'm sure you did smell the smoke. We're going to bump up to a 4 at times, where we will be going back and forth on the low end to about a 4, maybe even a 5. And that's really in all of the south. Closer to the Saskatchewan border, you may hang on to the smokier conditions a little longer. We're getting this smoke filtering in from the north, but the cold front that's swiping through and the rainfall will help to clean the skies out for us. So we'll notice an improvement tomorrow, and then an even better improvement by Wednesday. When we look at that forecast here, there's that cold front that will be slumping, continue to slump south. That'll bring the cooler air, sparking up the thunderstorms, delivering some rainfall, and then we have that system from the south as well. So enhanced rainfall up until about tomorrow afternoon. By 4 tomorrow, it will start to make its way out of Calgary, and by Wednesday, you are looking at sunshine and drier weather. To give you a bit of an indication of what we can expect rainfall-wise through tonight and tomorrow, about 7 millimeters for Medicine Hat, but you can see Calgary, upwards of 30 millimeters of rain possible with this, all the way in through Cochrane, down through Claresholm is where we're going to see those higher totals. And just a high of 11 for tomorrow with that cold wind gusting out of the north. But then by Wednesday and Thursday, you're looking at sunny conditions. We'll get back into the low 20s for Wednesday, high 20s for Thursday.
Significant increase in the number of measles cases over the weekend. Alberta Health Services is reporting 47 new cases across the province. One of those is in Calgary. The total number of measles cases is now over 1,400. Alberta's Chief Medical Officer of Health last spoke publicly about the outbreak on May 5th. In June, a letter went out to parents about the spread of measles, encouraging families to ensure their vaccinations are up to date. Alberta Health Services has lifted the water quality advisory at Riding on Stone Provincial Park Beach. It was put in place on May 26th because of high fecal bacteria levels. AHS says levels have decreased and the health risk is low for those using the river. It is reminding people, though, to never drink or cook with untreated water from any lake or reservoir. 1,700 cyclists hit the road for the 17th annual Enbridge Tour Alberta for Cancer. The cyclists raise money for cancer research and patient support programs. Riders pedal either 65 or 100 kilometers over 2 days. The event also puts the Alberta Cancer Foundation in the spotlight. This year, they set a new fundraising record.
I think it makes it one of the most successful fundraising events in this province. We have raised $9.34 million that is going to go directly to help patients who are facing cancer in this province.
Over 17 years, the tour has raised more than $100 million. Well, new sobering data is emerging out of Alberta. More and more Albertans are turning down a pint or a glass of wine. Next, we look at the new vice of choice. Open up the week on a high. Joining me is Dave Popowich, Portfolio Manager with the Popowich-Karmali Advisory Group. Dave, to what do we owe this jump on the positive side?
That's a good question, Camilla. Good afternoon to you. The markets were positive today, and I would say it was likely on earnings optimism. But I also add to that we did see the Dow and the TSX sell off into the close, which is a bit of an interesting trend, I guess, as some of the traders don't necessarily want to hold positions overnight. Let's just talk about earnings for a minute. If you look at last week, about 60 of the 500 S&P companies had put forward their earnings, and quite frankly, they did pretty well, better than 80% beating expectations. Now, this week, we're going to get about 100 companies reporting, but amongst them, we're going to get some of those big Mag 7, the Magnificent Seven technology companies reporting. And given that they have been the drivers of earnings growth on the S&P, it's going to be important. Now, the market was led by Google today, or Alphabet, the parent company. It'll be reporting on Wednesday. Now, if you look at the Mag 7 themselves, they're expected to increase earnings by 14% this quarter. The 493 other companies expected to see earnings increase of only about 3.5%. So when you mix it all together, what the market wants to see is earnings growth in the order of about 6.5%.
And President Trump's tariff deadline, Dave, it's looming. So what does that all mean?
Well, it means that we're going to have uncertainty, Camilla. So that August 1st deadline is looming. And if we see tariffs go from 10 to 30% on the European Union with respect to its trade with the United States, you're going to expect to see some more volatility. So, unfortunately, we just have to wait and see how this is going to play out. But any certainty around that will be helpful.
All right. Investors will be looking on. Dave, thanks so much.
Bye, Camilla.
Unionized Canada Post workers have begun voting today on the Crown Corporation's latest contract offer. The union has encouraged members to reject the latest deal. Meanwhile, research from the Canadian Federation of Independent Business finds a postal strike could cause 63% of businesses to stop using Canada Post permanently. CFIB estimates the strike before Christmas cost small businesses up to $100 million a day. 71% responded to the disruptions by encouraging customers to use digital options, and 45% turned to private couriers. New numbers from Stats Canada shows alcohol sales are slipping, especially here in Alberta. Across the country, alcohol sales fell slightly last year, but Alberta saw one of the sharpest declines in this province. Despite rising prices, the total value of liquor sales dropped by 1.4% through 2024. The polling data shows that the drinking in those who are people who do drink are drinking less often. Tulsa Brewery in Calgary saw the trend coming and has been producing non-alcoholic beer for over 4 years. Its founder says he sees the trend away from alcohol happening right in his own family.
You know, I have 3 sons in their 20s, and when they come out for a beer, they have a beer, and then they have a non-alc, and then they have a beer, and then they have a non-alc. It's very different than when I grew up. That was not the case. And I think 2 things. Number one, the generation nowadays is more, I would say they're more health conscious. They're more socially responsible. It's a different generation than when I grew up.
While booze sales are sliding, cannabis is still on the rise. Albertans lead the country in consuming weed, rolling up nearly $765 million in legal cannabis sales. A pedestrian is dead and 3 other people have been badly hurt. Here's Tara Nelson with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Hi, Camilla. There was a serious crash early this morning on 52nd Street in the Northeast. A pickup truck was going the wrong way down the street. Police say the driver showed no signs of slowing down before striking a pedestrian or the other vehicle. Coming up at 6, we'll hear from several of the witnesses there. Also ahead, there is growing alarm online after recent social media posts warn that 2 men convicted of killing women are now active on dating apps in Alberta. You can join us at 6 for that exclusive story. Camilla.
Tara, thank you so much. Well, it looks like we're going to have to earn it before we get those rebounding temperatures later in the week. Right now, 18 degrees, cloudy. Danielle has more details next. Okay, we're in for something.
Yeah, much cool. If you think today's cold, brace yourself. Tomorrow's even colder. And we're looking at it. I don't know about you, but if you're wondering if your house is going to hold up with any more rainfall, we're looking at another 30 millimeters possible in the city tonight through tomorrow. Okay, 18 is the current temperature. 19 was the high today. 23 is what's normal, and just a high of 11 tomorrow, with rainfall heavy at times, starting to clear out by about 4 in the afternoon. If you like the sunshine and the warmer temperatures, that will make its return by Wednesday. High 20s. So finally some summer by Thursday.
Thursday looks good, Danielle. Thanks so much. Well, even when the sun's not out, they made sure their buns were for the 5th annual Corgi Beach Day. Devon, just south of Edmonton, was run over with dozens of the short-stacked cuties after racing to the finish line. The corgis, with their luscious coats, hit the beach to cool off along the North Saskatchewan River and mingled with other 4-legged floofs, all the while driving people wild with their high-energy cuteness.
Hard to count dogs. We had over 400 people registered and definitely upwards of 120 corgis. And so the fun and the cuteness overload continues to grow every year.
They even held a loudest bark contest. Proceeds from the event is going to a local animal rescue organization. Look at that shark corgi, just my type. All right, thanks so much for joining us. Here's the early edition of the CTV National News.